Hello, folks. Hello. Hello. To beat the Jade, Matchmaker briefly asked himself, to beat the Jade, did they have to conduct a green slaughter of their own? Yeah. Would they have to destroy the Jade continent? Get them to surrender? Matchmaker doubted it. Doubted the Jade. Matchmaker doubted such carnage. Such carnage would be necessary. But it was going to be a bloody fight, he was sure. And many people, even like himself would be killed. Not that Ashmaker was invincible. Far from it. He knew he had to. He couldn't generate an impressive shield about himself. All he could do was burn. Like the pyrokinetic Annie McAnnie. Let's see. Let's see. Matchmaker had to kick. Matchmaker had to rely on cover, like any ordinary soldier. And he took up his rifle as he advanced into the base, in case he had to do some regular shooting. As far as he could tell, he was still full of that mysterious energy. It gave his power. It gave life to his power. Powers. Let's see. Matchmaker wasn't sure what the right term would be. Scientists had come up with a few terms, like psi energy. Psi energy. Psi energy. And psi soul. And so on. But none of those names had stuck in public consciousness. Ashmaker knew plenty of superhumans who referred to their energy in them as magic. They were a bunch of wizards running around, blasting people with spells. Magic in a lot of series is kind of treated like some kind of energy that people use, you know? Maybe you have a lot of characters with magic abilities. They use energy. They use up energy and they sometimes lose it, you know, and they become powerless temporarily. So, prince among his tribes. Maker fired off a few shots at some Jade troops in the distance, 10 meters off. They had seen him vaporize their friends. So he wasn't going to fool them into thinking he was a normal guy. They were pretty vengeful, clearly vengeful as well. Wow. The Jade, they were quite a bunch of hypocrites. Yeah, I gotta look out for, being too wordy, The Jade were quite a bunch of hypocrites. They could massacre. They could massacre troops, enemy troops, and civilians, whenever they pleased. But they'd howl at the moon, up at the moons. Someone shot down one of their people. Of theirs in cold blood. Maker could imagine. Guess you're not gonna get any closer to me. Maker muttered after a few minutes of being shot at by those distant Jade. You suppose they'd be idiots. Idiots if they advanced. It would be like advancing on flamethrower team, or tank, or some great monstrous beast. I could just gobble you up. You up after lassoing you with its big tongue. Froggish tongue. Do you speak the froggish tongue? I don't. Ashmaker generated a few great fireballs. Those that picked away at the cover of the enemy, sending some of them flying in, apparently unconscious. The shield taking the big crates, some big crates taking the bullet for the enemy. And then Edmaker saw one fellow readying a Volgan type RPG 7. I think, yeah, that's from after the war, I think. I think maybe RPG 2 is less anachronistic. But still might be anachronistic for 1949, 1946. Well, again, this is an alternate universe, not our universe. If you're going to be anachronistic, maybe try to use the least anachronistic thing, like closest to a time period. Instead of using the AK-47, you could use the Nazi Sturmgewehr 44 instead. I'm sure the Russians captured quite a few stockpiles of that back in World War II. By the end, and the Germans ran out of people to arm. Amazingly, they still had plenty of guns to go around, which is crazy to me. I think with all that bombing from the Allies, they would have run out of guns and everything. They would have been throwing rocks at the enemy by the end or something. Let's see if one fell readying a Volgan type rocket launcher. Was aiming straight at Ashmaker like he was some armored vehicle sitting in the distance. Ashmaker supposed he was a lot deadlier than any armored vehicle. Wasn't sure if he was more dangerous than such a thing or not. He supposed it depended on the type of vehicle. The RPG rocket was fired before Ashmaker could kill the welder. It spiraled through the air, seemingly en route to a direct hit. But Ashmaker flung an energy, fireball, standard fireball, at it, and the ball and the warhead and the warhead connected. Is warhead the right term? And the warhead collided, resulting in quite a impressive explosion. That no doubt would have taken Ashmaker's life from him. Yeah. He didn't give the enemy a chance for a second attack. He flung 3 energy blasts, fireballs, downrange, which didn't annihilate all the jade there, but 10 meter in the distance, but took out the rocket welder in the middle of a reload. His new rocket didn't explode in his hands. A few other guys, perhaps it had been a dud, Ashmaker thought. Ashmaker saw 2 more. Saw a group of jade, of unharmed jade. Let's see, energy ball. I'll just have energy blast in case I use blast too. Energy beams. Wow, that's a while ago. I guess I didn't use energy blast. I've got pretty consistent terminology in this story. It's always a fireball, as in a ball of fire, not a energy blast. Even though that would be accurate too, because fire is a form of energy. You could say it's one of the most powerful forms of energy in the universe, I think. People usually put fire and ice opposite each other, but ice is different. Ice isn't energy. It takes energy to change ice into water and so on. So it's an element. I think calling it an element is more accurate. Fleeing from that enemy position. A few others, burning men, seem to try and chase after them, only to collapse as though falling victim. A sniper. Excuse me. Damn gas. I did was have a noodle bowl this morning. But I also had a Twinkie. It was a quick pick-me-up after, doing a lot of note correcting from 8 to about 10 o'clock. 2 hours of notes. I would prefer to be done after an hour and a half at most. But reality versus what we want, If everybody got what they wanted, the world would be a lot different place. And even if I did get ahead in my notes somehow, fate would probably conspire so that I would be still screwed over. Like the computer would lock up, or get a stomach ache or something, I don't know. It seems you can never come out ahead, ever. Let's see. Falling victim to a sniper. There were a few more Jade. Jade did show up to that position, as seemingly oblivious to all the fire about them. They fired off bursts at Ashmaker from whatever cover whatever non-burning cover they could find, till he blasted them as well. One guy hit directly. That fireball instantly crumbled to ashes. Ashmaker didn't see his skeleton. Didn't catch a glimpse of his burning skeleton. In the flames. Another guy got grazed, which meant a slower, screaming sort of end. a slower end, being consumed by flames. Maker wondered if those chaps were evil. They had been deserved to die like that. Maker thought of the massacres on the island. Could he be sure that these fellows were responsible? Should I give him for a different British term each time? Like, he says, one time he says fellows, other time he says blokes, other times he fells chaps. I don't know. Probably not. I don't think anybody's English characters speak less English sounding than my characters. I could have put more stuff in there, but I thought it would kind of be lame, you know? Yeah, imagine a British person rolling their eyes about this stuff, like, you know, having all that modern British slang in there. I said slang, not schlong. Let's see. Ashmaker wondered if those schlongs were evil, if they deserved to die like that. Yep. It's a fun little game, replacing a word with schlong. A random word. Could he be sure these schlongs were responsible? After all, the people behind the massacre could have been someone who came in, who just came and went. Not part of the garrison. Like one of those more fanatical Jade units. One of the more fanatical Jade political units came to the island, rubbed out the locals, and left the boring garrison duty to somebody else. There was no evidence of this, but it was possible. And, of course, Ashmaker considered maybe the garrison was still to blame then, where they just stood and watched this hypothetical other unit come and pass through the island like death incarnate. Let's see, Jeep armored car. The RPG-2 was a predecessor of the RPG-7. Pretty infamous. It still sees a lot of use today because, you know, it's a cheap, easy to maintain weapon used by insurgents. It's probably killed lots of American soldiers. It was invented by the Russians, you know. Part of that old Cold War thing. Starting to watch this past their death here. No, they didn't make a stink. They didn't protect anyone. Didn't protect anyone. You guys probably deserve this anyway. Maker said to himself. Thought out loud. With the coast clear, Maker advanced. Maker came under fire from more Jade troops. Usually, most of them 5 meters off, occupying some of the buildings. Horace was in one of the buildings, but Ashmaker assumed he wasn't getting too into his role, and joining the defense. Maker flung some energy balls. Some of the big buildings, shooting from the windows of the big buildings. Energy balls at those windows, and those Jade disappeared in a great wall of fire. The interior of those rooms were cooked thoroughly. The fire eventually faded, replaced by billowing black smoke. You could barely see much of interest anyway. The rooms were quite blackened inside. Let's see. Maker tried to spy Dominique flying about. Lady Dominique flying through the air. You expect to see a lot of glowing, smoking craters and green flame where she had attacked. But there was, in a sense, that first attack, she had apparently done nothing. Perhaps it took a lot out of her. It took a lot out of her. Didn't seem like she accomplished much. Like with that first attack. Activator Hamden. She blew up some crates, important crates, and a few officers. Probably not worth the effort. 2 trucks were driving. Maker saw a few big military trucks in the distance get sent flying high through the air, flipping a few times and spilling out the Jade infantry occupants before crashing to the ground. Matchmaker imagined that was the work of Garibay Irhan, the telepathic kinetic. Alright, difference between telepathic and telekinetic. Oh, look at the time. I think I'll stop here early a little because my internet's been having some trouble lately and it can't handle longer videos. So, Avita Zane. Sayonara.